Hello, everyone. We are recording this webinar, and I'm excited that we're recording it because usually when we record webinars, we get a lot of views on them. A lot of people want to go back and understand the content a little bit better than what they could capture during a very quick half-hour presentation. So this is one of my monthly webinars. Today we're going to talk about security related to passwords. So without further ado, here is who I am, first of all, just so you understand a little bit who is that weird guy that you guys are listening to. My name is Beits. I'm the owner, founder, and managing partner of Gallop Technology Group and Legal Technology Solutions. I'm a proud father of 4 kids. One of them had a fender bender this morning that made me drive to comfort her a little bit, unfortunately. But she's good. It's just damage only. And it's just an exciting time to be alive when you have 3 teenage kids driving. So that's all you're going to hear about who I am. We're going to talk about passwords, and I want to share with you guys that passwords are basically dead. I really don't know any other way to say it. If you just count on a password to secure you these days, this is not enough. So we are definitely interested in making sure you understand that there has to be either a much better way to manage your passwords, or your passwords have to be very, very strong. And I'll explain what that means in a second. So managing your passwords these days is pretty much based on recommendations that I've seen over the years working with some cybersecurity experts, as well as recommendations from NIST and Microsoft back from like 8 years ago. Not much changed since then, and the recommendations are going to be reviewed with us in a moment over here. Now, there are few ways to manage your password. There's the human solutions and the software solutions. The humans one we're going to talk about, and the software solution is the password manager, basically. Definitely something we're going to demo in a moment over here. So one of the first human solutions is using algorithm, like a mental algorithm that will give you, for example, in this case, the first 2 letters of the website or the program you're trying to log into, followed by your area code, followed by 2 characters, followed by the year that you created that password, whatever. You can mimic that and change, change some of those schema or the algorithm, so you can remember if this is a Gmail password, it's going to start with GA, and then the phone number that comes up on a Google search for Gmail is maybe area code 334 or whatever it is. What's bad with that is obviously if somebody understands that this is what you're doing, they can crack one password, they can crack all. It's complex enough, but it's definitely not something we would recommend. So some people use that. Point is, don't. Another thing that people use is sticky notes. Obviously, if something happens to the sticky note, you forget the password, you can't find it, it's a problem. Somebody can take a picture of it and you never know that they did. So definitely not something I would recommend either. Definitely not in today's security requirements. Another human solution is having a Word document or Excel. I know many people that still do that. Please, guys, it's okay to have a document with your passwords if you secure the heck out of that document, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. But if you're not, then this is a horrible solution. One of the first things that cryptoviruses search for in most cases is a document that has the word password inside of it or on the title of it, etc., the file name. So, hackers are not dumb. They are looking for those. So please do not use a Word document, Excel, or text file. Obviously, using the same password for everything is another solution, but obviously we don't want to do that. And I want to show with you real quick what it looks like and why you don't want to do that. So this is an example of an email that I got from Spotify, or I thought it's from Spotify. Very hard. If you can see, the sender is obviously not Spotify, but you can see very easily that If I would fall for that specific example over here, and I will click on that Spotify link on the bottom, the word subscription or the logo over here, I'll be taken to a place where it's going to ask me for my password. Same thing if it's going to be on Amazon, like a fake email like that comes from, as if it's coming from Amazon. Same as this one that looks like it's coming more or less from Microsoft. This one definitely looks more like Microsoft. Those are all fake emails. And the problem is if you're using the same password for everything and you fall for something like that, if you click on read this message, by the way, it will take you to a screen that looks just like that. And this is a very similar login screen as if you're on the Microsoft portal. It looks very, very similar. No way you can tell that it's not unless you know to look for the address bar and other things on the site. So if you do put your information on there and you put the real password in, the hackers are going to say, whoever is on that site monitoring you, they're going to say, no, that's the wrong password, try again. So human beings will go back and say, oh yeah, it's probably not that. Maybe I'll try the other password I always use or the other password I used to use. Before you know it, you give your hacker all combination of every username and password that you ever used. And then if you use the same username and password for other accounts, they're going to be able to use it to try to hack into other accounts. Another fake, look at the address bar, facebook.com. Most people won't notice that, right? So if you fall for something like that, for that fake email asking you to log in because your account has been locked or whatever. Another human solution is the password reminder method. Not a lot of people use it, but it's kind of smart, but not good solution. Some people don't want to memorize any passwords. What they do is they just click on forgetting the password. I forgot my password, and then they just get a new password every time and they don't bother memorizing it. It's slowing down. It's obviously not a great idea. Also, because if you have a somebody that breached your website, sorry, your email, they're going to be able to reset or password remind, and then they're going to see all the reminders going to your inbox because they have access to it. Another human solution is securing and encrypting a file. And actually, this is not a bad thing, but not a great solution either. That's why I wrote over there, try not to use. And what I want to show you real quick, I'm going to show you a demo of what that looks like. Let me minimize everything here. And I'm going to start a little, oopsie, sorry. Let's create a new folder over here. And as if this is a folder on my computer or a thumb drive or whatnot, and I'm going to call it useful info. And now when I'm on it, I can right click on it and I have a program that is called AxScript. This is one of the encryption programs that I actually recommend. And if you go to our website under the About Us page, there is a link to download that. And I think you get it for free, or you can buy subscription for a discounted rate or whatnot. But once you install it, which is really easy to do, you can right click on any file or folder. You can click on right click and then choose encrypt. And then it will ask you some questions if this is the first time you're encrypting the folder. I'm already obviously using that application, so it's not gonna do anything besides asking me for my master password in order to encrypt or decrypt to open it later on. So this adds a very good layer of security onto that folder and anything inside of it. So you can, again, encrypt a specific file or folder, doesn't have to be a whole folder. Another thing that you want to consider is because most people have cloud services like OneDrive and Dropbox and Google Drive that actually have the ability to automatically back up your files and folders from your computer for convenience reasons. You see that little cloud over here? That tells me that this is going to be synced to my cloud account, to my OneDrive account. And now that means that every password document that I have here is now uploaded to the cloud, and it's somewhere all over the world, basically. So if we do encrypt that encryption follows it to anywhere else. So if it will be on the cloud, it will be encrypted on the cloud. Another reason to consider that if you are planning on doing something like that, like saving it on a document, but then encrypting it. Okay, next, let's continue over here. Where is my presenter view? There you go, current slide. Perfect. So we looked at ActScript, very simple way to run your encryption on files and folders. Another human solution is encrypting the thumb drive. And if you put it on a thumb drive, your document with the passwords, again, not recommended, but if you are definitely going to encrypt it, there are some pros and cons. One of the biggest problems is if you keep that thumb drive inside your computer for convenience, anybody else that will log into your computer will have access to that encrypted drive because it will be decrypted at that point. So keep that in mind. Definitely not something I would use. What would we use? The software solution is basically a password manager, and Bitwarden is the one that I think will be best for almost everybody to consider these days. There are quite a few, obviously, out there. LastPass, who's been breached for like 3 times in 1 year. What is it? 1Password, KeePasses. There's dozens and dozens of those password solutions, password managers. I just want to show you a demo real quick of what it looks like real life. So over here, I'm going to show you, I have the Bitwarden plugin. I have an account, obviously. I have my email address, and I'm going to put in my master password. And now it's asking me to put in my thumb drive, and we see, sorry, not my thumb drive, my YubiKey. I'm plugging it in to my USB plug over here. And there you go. I push that little button on there, and there I am. I am now logged in, and that's perfect. Why is that good? Because now, let's say I have an account. I want to create an account over here on whatever this website is. I can do a few things. I can, if this is the first time I'm creating an account, I can put in my first name and last name, my email address, and whatever. And then on the password, one of the nice things about password managers is that you can right-click, go to Bitwarden, and you can generate a password, and then simply paste it over here. And I'm going to click Create Account. As soon as I created this account, what's supposed to happen, and it's not for some reason, Bitwarden supposed to be adding, maybe because it's not completely verified, but it should pop up and ask me, do you want to save those credentials over here? So next time I'm going to edit for you. So I can manually do that. I can go to add a login. This is automatically going to put the name of the website here. I can change it to, test site. Username was Beits Livneh, for example, and then password I'm gonna paste what I copied before, or I can go over here and I can let it create a password for me. It can be weird password like that or passphrase. It can create a passphrase using multiple letters, how many numbers you want to have, what are the word separators. Let's say I want to have a period instead. So now these are the separators here. You want to capitalize, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to click select, and I can now memorize that. This is the password. Oopsie, I didn't do it correctly. I forgot to copy it. So I'm going to copy it, and now I can paste it here. And you can see that this is the password that we created. Now, if we have a login, for example, something else, let's look for AccuSource. This is where it becomes really fun to explain, guys, to you guys stuff. AccuSource is a service that we do use, and you can see over here, I have my two-factor authentication or multiple factor TOTP, but this is the website that we use for AccuSource. I can click over here, which will open the AccuSource directly. All I did is went to Bitwarden, and now you can see I have the Bitwarden logo over here. If I click on it, it will suggest any logins that we have saved for that specific URL, and I'm going to click on that. It's going to log me in, and now I'm going to paste Control V, the one-time password code, just like the banks have and the text messages you get. Those are the ones that keep changing every 30 seconds. I pasted it over here. It already copied it by itself. and I only had to paste it here. Now I can verify that and I can log into my account. Another great thing about Password Manager, some of them do, not all of them, is I can actually go over here and I can move that specific password and share it with specific teams over here or specific completely different entities. For example, my wife and I have our own Livneh family list of passwords that we share. I can move it from my Gallop work organization to our family organization, and then she will have access to it, or my VAs will have access to it if I click on that, or our admins or our operations team, whatever it is. This is how we organize our passwords and share the passwords with each other. So again, lots of things that Bitwarden can do. This is on the password side. You can save obviously credit cards, and you can send a secured password to somebody. For example, it's going to be a password for Lucy, and it's going to be a text, and your password is 1234, whatever. And we can set up some more information, when it's going to expire, all that fun stuff. And then you can set up a password for somebody to open it. So you send her maybe an email with that link, and then you text Lucy the password to open that link. So this is just another thing we can do over here. Again, lots of uses that we can have with a password manager. It's not just for passwords, but definitely something that we can use. Last thing I want to show you is, if you have identity, you can autofill the identity. So it's going to put in your name, email address, and any other information like address on the form that's there, so you don't have to manually type it in every time. Okay, so that was fun. Let's go back to our presentation over here. Password manager tips. We have to have strong passwords, and strong passwords basically these days means that they are unique and memorable. You do not want to use the same password on any two programs or websites. And memorable is something that means that you don't have to write it down, but that's not doable these days. So that means that we have to, unfortunately, get a password manager. Use a password manager, of course. Use multi-factor authentication. We're going to talk about that in a second. Make sure you educate your employees. You don't want to have the weakest link somewhere in your organization. You know, you're very secured, but your assistant, who has access to 90% of your stuff, your logins and everything, is not practicing the same security. That's not good. Every account in the organization should have the same high level of security for their passwords, obviously. And don't change passwords every 5 minutes. There are reasons when you should change your password, and we're going to talk about that as well. Some of the best practices. A good password. Let me show you real quick an example over here. I'm going to open this little link, and you're going to see the difference between LogMeIn 2018 now, or LogMeIn now 2018. And let's look at that. LogMeIn now 2018. This is a password. It's going to take 2 years maybe for somebody to hack into that. Let's actually now. Okay. Now, look what happens when I change the L to a capital L. We move from 2 years to 40 centuries. Because usually what happens is bots that are trying those passwords go first with all lower cases, and they keep adding uppercase every time, and so on. So if I'm going to add over here a period, 1.49 million centuries. Now, if I'm going to go back to lowercase l, that's the original one again, 2 years, which, by the way, in today's world is probably way less than that, actually, because hackers are using way better tools these days. But I'm just adding one period over here. Look what it did. One special character is moved to 2.34 thousand centuries. So am I convincing you to use uppercase and special characters? Hope so. You can use that website to check your password. Don't give the real password, though. Change it a little bit. The longer the password, the better. There are few ways to create long passwords if you do choose to memorize them. The phrases, for example, I love the "today I choose to be happy" period at the end. That's a great password, lots of characters. And initialism, this is like something that makes no sense to anybody besides me. I know how to remember that because that means my Volkswagen broke down in 1995, so I walked home, period. This is a great example of initialism. You want to create unique passwords. Again, don't use the same password anywhere more than once. At least 12 characters, shoot for 16 or more. Don't use silly passwords like these ones, obviously, and the word password repeated twice is not going to make it that much more secured. You want to make it easy to remember but hard to guess. For example, blue dice in my 78 Rockwagon. This is a good one if you can remember it, but again, if not, then it's pointless. Use a password manager. Don't use the name of your pets, anything that's true about yourself, like your firstborn and the year they were born and all that fun stuff. Now, some other recommendations: always use two-factor authentication on every service that allows you to do that. Force it on every employee that you have and every service that you use. If you want to use biometric, that's great. It's not that secured by itself, but if you add it as a secondary layer of security, that's also great. If you can use single sign-on, if you're not sure what that is, reach out to your IT person. Very good way. If your Microsoft account is as secure as it should be, and you can use your Microsoft login to log into other sites, that is perfect. Okta, One Login, Duo, those are very good examples. We use Duo for everything in terms of single sign-on and two-factor authentication. Password manager, we spoke about that as well. Pros and cons of that. For sake of time, I'm not going to read it to you. You can read it later. By the way, if you want a copy of these slides, by all means, reach out to me, let me know, and gladly I'll send it to you via email. There are some multi-factor authentication methods. The SMS, it's one of the least secured ones. If you have an option to move away from it, that's great, even to an email-based authentication. Hardware token, this is the same thing that I used before to authenticate with Bitwarden. I have it on my keychain over here that stays with me all the time. Authenticator app like Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, Duo, all those things, and biometric, of course, as well. When do you change your password? And this is something that we want to talk about real quick. Very few reasons to change it. If you suspect it has been breached, if you see suspicious activities or logins, if it has been breached. If you enter your password on a shared computer mistakenly, you have to assume that every computer out there has a keylogger. They have a hacker that monitors what they do. Don't trust any device other than your own if you protect your own. If your device has been stolen or missing, your password, you shared it with somebody that you shared it with, you don't trust anymore 100%. You forgot your password is a good reason to reset it. If you found it on the dark web, by the way, we can help you. If you don't know how to check it, we can check it for you. I have a QR code at the end of that slide over here. You can scan it and request that from us, or send me an email. We'll do it for you, no charge. If your compliance or regulation requires you to do that, etc. Now, don't use your web browser to remember passwords. I want to make sure that you guys know that it's very not secured. Please remember not to use a password manager instead. I will probably won't have time today, but if you're interested, I'll show you why it's not secured. Now, how to protect your yourself and your business, generally speaking, this year. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to show you actually why not create the why not save the passwords on your password manager, on your web browser, I'm sorry. If I go to, let's say, facebook.com, and let's say your web browser is being very convenient, and it pops up or allow you to fill in the information like this, for example. I'm gonna rewrite this because I don't want to see the real stuff, but you can see over here our web browser, or in this case it was our password manager, but the web browser can do the same thing. And what's going to happen, I can right click over here and click on inspect. And guys, try that on your web browser. It's really sad how easy it is. Under type, you're going to change it from password to text. And here it is. This is the text, and it's no longer hidden. And if you're going to go, I can close that. If you're going to go to your settings of your web browser, and you're going to go to passwords, you can see over here that there is a way for you to actually import or export passwords. And all you need is the Windows login, which is really not hard to crack and get into. So definitely not something I would recommend using ever, your web browser, that is, to save your password. So few general more tips and advice on how to protect your business regardless of passwords. You want to understand the source of threats these days. Make sure you know how hackers get into people's systems, and there are many ways that they do it. Password management and multi-factor authentication. You want to make sure all your software on your computer is always up to date. That includes your phones, that includes your Apple devices, and so on. You want to make sure your employees are trained and have awareness training classes. This is something that we do for all of our clients. And if you don't do it for yours, for your employees, make sure you do. Insurance companies do require to see that you're actually doing something to educate yourself and the team, because over 80% of breaches happen because of human error. And if they can prevent that by educating the humans, they will be definitely in your favor. Business continuity, disaster recovery, planning, and simulation. A lot of people have backups of disaster recovery. They never simulate it and make sure it works. So it's a problem. By the way, encryption, I missed number 5. Encrypt your data, encrypt your emails, if it's sensitive emails, encrypt your cloud solutions, etc. You want to make sure that your devices, when you surf the internet, are secured. Use a VPN, use your tethering on your cell phone. We have some classes about that as well, and webinars on internet security as well. You can watch that. Make sure you have access control, DLP, data loss prevention, data segregation. Again, those are mechanisms to make sure that if you do put sensitive information on your cloud, on your computers, nobody can just copy and paste it or print it or share it with outside sources without permissions. Good endpoint protection. And antivirus these days is really not enough. If you have AVG or McAfee, all of those, if it's just an antivirus, you guys are way behind the curve, definitely not protected as you should be. Have an incident response plan, because guys, this is not a question of if, it's a question of when. And when it happens, if you don't know what to do, who to notify, who to call from your insurance, what are the legal repercussions, how are you supposed to notify your clients that their data has been potentially breached, and so on, that is something to look at. And maybe a bonus point, vendor management. A lot of times people don't know that through your vendors that are not maybe secured enough, somebody can hack into you. So having a good process to require or to get a proof that your vendors that have access to your data, your computer, your network, whatever it is, are also protected in today's standards. Great example is there was a casino that a few years ago has been completely breached, and a huge data breach over there that came from the fish tank company, because the fish tank company had IoT devices to remotely manage the temperature and the filters of the aquariums in the casino. So the aquarium equipment was the one that was breached through the aquarium maintenance company. So just another example. If you want the dark web or domain and email assessment, we do it for free for our friends and of course our clients and anybody that wants to stay secured. This is a QR code and the URL that's going to take you there. That's one thing. Also, if you go to our website, there's a pop-up that will offer that for you. This is a QR code and a URL for a video that shows a very interesting breach that we demonstrated with the help of one of our partners. And it's really cool to watch that. It's a 10-minute video that will really open your eyes. And if you have any questions for me, this is my URL on the bottom over there, galloptechgroup.com/Beits. My contact information is there, link to my calendar. Feel free to schedule time to chat. And obviously this QR code is going to take you there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at 11:29. I love how much information we can stick in 1.5 hour session. It's a lot, it's fast, but I promised you a lot of good information in my webinars. And I'm sure that if you will read through those slides and do it on your own time, you can dig in a lot deeper than I was able to. I just wanted to convey as much as I can. So without further ado, thank you for joining. Have a great day and stay secure, guys. Bye-bye.